What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. This video is somewhat a little late to be made only because we are kind of halfway or quarter into the wedding season. I guess everybody has a different type of wedding season, whether you're doing only 5-10 weddings a year or you're doing 20 weddings a year, whatever it is. But I figured I'd like to make a full breakdown on this YouTube channel on how I shoot my wedding films and also on how I prep to shoot them. And also the most important thing that people somewhat ask me is on how I do my same day edits and how to prep for the same day edit. So we're gonna be starting off with the camera gear that I use to shoot my wedding films. And that all comes down to if I'm gonna be shooting by myself as a solo shooter or if I'm gonna be having a second shooter as well. But my main camera is gonna be the one that I'm shooting on right now, which is the Nikon Z8. Now, if you've been following this YouTube channel, I've been shooting on the Sony FX3 for some time, but I changed over a year ago and I switched to the Nikon Z8 and I absolutely love it. The Tamron 35 to 150 f2 to 2.8. Now this is a Sony version E-mount, but I got the newer adapter here for my Nikon Z8. Now I've used this before and the autofocus is actually very good. There's no hunting or anything like that. So yeah, we're gonna be trying this out on today's wedding as well. And I'm gonna give you my thoughts on how well this adapter works for the Nikon Z8 with using Sony native E-mount lenses, or not native, but this is the Tamron, but still E-mount. And yeah, we're gonna try to use this for a majority of the day today. There's only a few lenses that I mainly use to shoot my wedding films, and that's gonna be the Nikkor Z35 1.4, the older 50mm 1.4 with the Nikon adapter, I forget what it's called, the Nikon 17 to 28, and then also last year during the end of the wedding season, I also picked up the Mic 85 1.8, which is a great lens. It somewhat feels cheap. It's like plasticky, very plasticky, even though most lenses are made of a plastic body, I would say, but this one here just feels a little bit more cheap, but it actually performs very nice. The Nikon Z8 is gonna be my main camera, and then my backup, or for a second angle if I'm shooting by myself, I'm gonna be using the Nikon Z30. Also, we will be rocking with the Nikon Z30 as like the ceremony camera, reception camera for reaction shots, and then also probably for speeches as well. This is a nice little camera. Shoots only 8-bit. The quality we're getting out of this is amazing, and it just makes sense to have another Nikon camera because I can use all my other lenses. This takes a micro HDMI, which is a little bit of a pain, and it also doesn't have a headphone input on this camera, just a mic input. So those are the two main cameras that I am using if I'm a solo shooter for my wedding films. Now, if I have a second shooter, whatever they're gonna be using, majority of the time they're using the Sony a7 IV. Now, matching all these cameras might be somewhat hard, but like I said, as long as I convert them into the Rec 709 and then I can just play with the greens, reds, and blues, and then just subtract some colors, as long as I'm close enough, that's all I care about. So now for audio, I'm using the DJI Mic 2 mics. These microphones are a game changer. I've been using these for about over a year now. Having to be able to record internally on these microphones is amazing.
I can't wait to see those chapel doors open and see how beautiful you look in the dress I've waited to see.
Now, if we are in a pinch and we can't connect the DJI Mic 2 to the microphone from somehow, which actually happened last weekend's wedding because people just prefer to hold the microphone, so I can't actually attach the lav to the mic or hide it in some sort. So what I would do is just get some tape the actual DJI Mic 2 microphone to the actual microphone, and then whoever's going up for a speech, I would just tell them to hold the microphone in a certain angle, and then we are kind of hiding the microphone. I wouldn't recommend this, but this is only if we have to do it this way. If people aren't going to be grabbing the mic and it's going to be on the mic stand, then I would simply just grab my lav, tape it onto the microphone or wrap it around, kind of hide it as best as possible. Now, sometimes you can see the microphone, sometimes you can't, but I mainly just care about getting really good, clean audio. If you can see it, I mean, it's not the end of the world. It does look a little cheesy, but as long as my audio comes out nice and clean, then that's all that matters. Now, for a majority of my shooting, you know, talking about gimbals or tripods, the gimbal I'm using is the DJI Ronin RS2. It's a little bit of an older gimbal. I think this gimbal came out like 4 years ago. Still does the job. I'm not shooting on big heavy cameras. The Nikon Z8 is not that big. It does get a little bit bulky once you add like a cage or the microphone on top, but the RS2 handles the Nikon Z8 no problem. One thing I just started using last weekend was the tilter ring for the DJI RS2. I'll get it in a second just to show you guys what I'm talking about. So this is the tilter ring for the DJI RS2. It's super unique, it's awesome, it's a game changer. If you guys are shooting long period of wedding films, I would recommend getting one of these. It's gonna be such a different and better grip or position for you to hold the gimbal. We have our dual handles right here. We got the gimbal in the middle, feet on the bottom here, gold inputs, 5 gold inputs where we can actually mount V-mounts or batteries on here. So we can actually power additional stuff that is on our gimbal. I have a magic arm right here, which I am mounting my monitor, which I'll show later on for what I'm using for my monitor. But then for the handle for the gimbal, I don't know if you guys can see it. The handle for the gimbal is basically right here. It's super useful because we could just walk around with the gimbal, grabbing it, and then we have our hot chew or cold chew monitor mount on top. But I'm not using this for my monitor. I like to keep things a little bit compact, cleaner, and closer to the gimbal just because it's a little easier to view. So I have a magic arm right here that is going to be mounting to my monitor. Now this gimbal can, or the power that I'm getting from the RS2, I can keep this on and, you know, I can shoot like a 12, 13 hour day, no problem. Actually, I shot a 12-hour wedding day on Saturday and I have 3 bars. 2 bars are solid green, the 3rd one is blinking, so that just shows you on how good the battery is on the RS2. If you guys are looking to get a cheap gimbal, the RS2 is probably all you need unless you're shooting on bigger cameras. You don't need the newest and most expensive gear. Just use what works and try them out, and then you'll know that it is good for what you need it for. Now for tripods, I'm using the K&F Concept tripod. I can't really show you the tripod because I'm using it right now on the Nikon Z8, but I'll put a link or a picture of it over here. I've been using this for almost a year now. The solid tripod, it actually holds up my Red Gemini. The only thing is I just feel like sometimes it kind of tilts a little bit, so you just have to turn the grip underneath and then look at the leveler and make sure it's all leveled. But other than that, this tripod is a solid tripod, and I think it can hold up to like 15 or 20 pounds, which is more than enough on my Nikon Z8 or the Nikon Z30. So if you guys are looking for a nice solid tripod, and this is not affiliated or anything like that, no one's sponsoring me to say any of this stuff in this video. This tripod here I bought with my own money on Amazon. So if you guys are looking for the same tripod, I'll put a link of that in the description as well. Actually, I'll put a link for most of all the stuff that I have that I'm talking about in this video in the description. Nothing is affiliated. Maybe some things, I'm not 100% sure, but most of them are not affiliated links. So if you guys are interested, take a look at the description below as well. Now for my monitor that I'm using on either the gimbal or on top of my camera, I am using the Axsoon SynView Nano. I love this thing. It is so small. This is basically what it looks like, and you use your phone as your monitor. The reason why I love this is because it takes the NPF batteries. It's not battery hungry at all. It's very reliable. And on top of that, you can click this middle button, slide this off, and you can keep this on your camera or whatever closer to your camera, because this is the HDMI in or out that has to go into the camera. And then this is basically like a phone mount. So you can basically mount this anywhere you like. So you can kind of go portable, obviously, because it's a wireless monitor. And plus the quality that I'm getting on my iPhone is great. And there's so many different functions that I can do in the app. You know, you can turn on your LUTs, waveforms, and all that stuff, and actually import your own LUTs as well. And it's not as hard as doing it for other monitors. I feel like using this is a lot easier than most of the monitors that I have been using. And this is like under $200. And we can also input a USB-C here and plug it into our phone, so we can actually charge our phone at the same time. And we can actually use multiple different phones or iPads as our monitor as well. One other thing I wanted to talk about in this video is prepping for a same day edit. Now, one way you can accomplish a same day edit is by editing fast, knowing your timeline, knowing your footage, and knowing on where to place the footage for the song. So one thing I like to do is obviously have the song downloaded already and added into DaVinci Resolve, and then also have multiple different folders already added and with the corresponding video clips added into those folders. So if I'm using my Nikon Z8, Z30, and Sony a7 IV, I'll have 3 folders and then I'll import all that footage into those folders. But first, what I like to do is transfer everything onto an SSD when I'm about to start editing, and then I'll give the memory card off to the second shooter and then they can continue shooting. And at the same time, they are still shooting on that same memory card, so none of these files are gonna get mixed up. I'm not gonna be losing out on certain files if I forgot to transfer. Or what I can also do is give them a different memory card. I can keep that memory card, but I would still transfer everything to an SSD drive, and then I'll import all that footage into the corresponding folder. And that's exactly what I did on the weekend at Whistlebear. I transferred my Z8, the drone files, the a7 IV, and the Z30 video clips into their folders, and then I was able to start editing. So one thing I also like to do is pick certain LUTs or a certain way on how I'm gonna color grade my footage, because I don't wanna be stressed on, you know, choosing certain colors or whatever of what I want my footage to look like. I'm gonna have a power grade already ready for my Nikon Z8. Now for the a7 IV, it might be a little bit different just because I don't have that camera. So I'm just gonna have to use what I'm using on the Nikon Z8 and play around with the colors and try to get them matched as good as possible. I also talked about the audio that's gonna be already added into the timeline. Now the way I'm gonna start off my same day edit is also with a few of my best clips that I shot. I'm not gonna start off my same day edit with the beginning of the day. I wanna start off with the best shots that I took, that I was able to capture already before, after I started editing the same day edit, because those few good shots is gonna keep everybody intrigued in the same day edit. It's gonna be, wow, look at that, we just shot that literally an hour ago, instead of adding footage in the morning, because you could be editing all morning. No one knows who you are, no one knows that you're editing unless they're close to you sitting by the same table. But majority of the people, 250, 300 people at this wedding, have no idea you are editing. So what I like to do is start off with the latest shot or the best shot that I shot during that day and keep that in the very beginning of the video. And then what I would like to do is kind of fade in with the beginning shots after a few of the good or best looking shots, and then kind of start from there as it goes on. Now I don't also want to spill all my beans on the same table, because I have a longer video that I got to produce or make for my clients. So I don't want to use every good shot in this same day edit. So there are some shots that I'm going to keep for myself and also for the longer video. Otherwise, they're gonna be like, well, we already saw all this stuff. So I like to keep some good stuff as well, not used, and then I'm able to make a longer video as well, because what I like to do for my packages is offer a highlight video, same day edit, and the raw film, which is basically all the video clips that I shot, and it's just transferred onto the timeline, and you're basically watching like a 3-4 hour video, no editing whatsoever, just straight colored. Now you're probably wondering on how long it's gonna take to edit that same day edit. It all depends on how you know your editing program. It all depends on how you know your footage. If someone asks me to come and edit a same day edit while I'm not even there during the morning ceremony or a reception, it will 100% take a little longer. But the reason why it's only gonna take me 2.5 hours to edit a same day edit is because I know what footage I shot. The only footage I don't know what the second shooter shot, that's the only time where it's gonna basically slow me down, because I gotta scrub through his footage, find all the best shots, and then add that in the timeline. So as I'm shooting during the day, I know what shot I'm gonna be using in the same day edit. Mind you, all the shots that you should be shooting during the day should be good shots, and you can also save those for the longer highlight film as well. Now, why I think editing same day edits or producing same day edits is amazing for your portfolio, or just overall amazing for your type of work, is because there's gonna be around 150, 200 people, 300 people at this wedding. And majority of these people, there's probably gonna be at least a good 50 people that are probably going to be getting married sometime in the year, couple years, and they're gonna be looking at your video and they're probably gonna be thinking, this is great, I'm gonna use this guy to shoot our wedding. So when you are producing a same day edit, 100% add your logo in the end of the same day edit. Otherwise, people are not gonna know who produced this. So I would recommend, if it's something that you can do, try to add same day edits in your portfolio, or just try to get better at editing faster and then try to add a same day edit in the contract. Now you're probably wondering or asking yourself on how can I start getting into the same day edits, or how can I start making same day edits if I'm not good at editing? Well, the thing is, you need to know your program, you need to know your footage, but also you need to have kind of faith in yourself that you can actually produce the same day edit. So the way I got into doing same day edits was pretty much like 6-7 years ago, was when I was shooting a wedding and I told the bride and groom and I said, listen, I'm gonna try and do a same day edit for you guys. If I can't do it, there's, you don't pay me, and I'm not asking for payment. I'm just trying to do this and see if I can do it. And if I can do it, then we will play it after dinner. And I did it completely free. And I remember I was editing in my car in the parking lot in the reception parking lot, and I was able to complete the same day edit. And then from there, I was pretty much like, okay, this is super easy. I know my footage. I know where I'm gonna be putting my footage. I got good, clean audio. I got everything that I can add in for coverage. And then also I know the song, and there's also a lot of drops in the song that are gonna make this video look good. And that's another thing you would want as well, is a song that is catchy, a lot of drops. And in those drops, you wanna add cool slow motion gimbal shots, which kind of sounds a little tacky, but people love watching this stuff when you are at the reception, because not only it looks cinematic, it looks good, but this was literally filmed an hour ago and people are gonna be like, wow, this is insane. I remember I was at my brother's wedding, they did a same day edit, and I thought to myself, this is awesome. They literally just shot this, and I thought it was like magic, and this is pretty much before I even got into doing weddings. Next thing you know, I started doing my own same day edits, and then here we are making this video, and I'm kind of trying to help you guys to make your own same day edit and be less stressful, because the thing is, you want everything to work out good the day of the wedding. And if you do have everything working out good, then you're gonna have a very good same day edit. As long as you know where your footage, what you shot, how you shot it, and where it was during the day, you can lay it out on the timeline and you're gonna have yourself a good looking video. For the same day edit, it's gonna be a little different than your actual full highlight film, because we're not going for a story for the same day edit, or at least I'm not going for a story. I'm just going for a wow factor, because this was literally edited and shot 3 hours ago. So I'm just producing all my best looking footage in with the song for the couple and for everybody to watch. For the highlight film, that's where I saved some important shots. Most of all the good shots are gonna be in the highlight film, because that highlight film is gonna be a little longer. Most of the speeches are gonna be in the highlight film as well. And my highlight film is roughly gonna be 8 to 12 minutes long. So I would just 100% save some shots for your actual longer video. But for the highlight film, we're not going for, or I'm not going for an actual story. I'm just producing like a little cinematic trailer. Now, one thing I also should have mentioned early on in this video is you need a lot of coverage, and having one person as a solo filmmaker for a wedding could be somewhat hard, because you're actually operating 2 cameras. Instead of, if you had a second shooter, you can worry about your own shot capturing everything perfectly, instead of trying to operate the second camera, where the second shooter can operate the camera. One of the most important questions before I end this video is how to get into the wedding industry. Now, that's something that might be a little bit different for everybody, and the way I got into the wedding industry was a little different. Me and my fiance were just basically shooting videos, travel videos, and all that stuff, and then the neighbor that was living behind my parents, they were getting married, and then they came up to me asking if I can shoot their wedding. And at the time, I was shooting on a Nikon D750, which had no autofocus at the time, and this is like a good 9 years ago, 10 years ago, and I said sure, and they actually gave me $700. Cheap, but at the time it was good. I had no idea about the wedding industry and any of that. I had no idea about coverage. I knew nothing. So I did it. I posted that video, And then the following year, I ended up booking 3 weddings. And then the following year, I ended up booking 20 weddings. Now, 20 weddings might be a little overkill. I feel like doing 10 weddings is probably the sweet spot, depending on how much you charge and the type of look, the type of client you are going for. I feel like 10 is the sweet spot. But also depends if you're doing it full time or not. So that's it for this video. If you guys have any questions regarding the wedding industry, wedding filmmaking, or camera gear, whatever it is, let me know in the comments below. I'll do my best to answer them with the best of my knowledge, and we'll see you guys on the next video.